Dollywood got a lot of attention with their new for 2023 family launch coaster in Big Bear Mountain. This Vekoma creation was very well received by coaster enthusiasts and families alike. But as good as that ride is, I don't think it's Dollywood's best family launch coaster. I think that honor goes to Fire Chaser Express. I think it's a near perfect family coaster, and I'll explain why in this review. Dollywood opened Adventure Mountain in 2010. This was a high ropes course. These are usually standalone attractions or part of an FEC. It was quite odd to see one at a major theme park, but it was a popular attraction. However, it did not last long and was removed after the 2012 season. No exact reason was given, but people speculate it was either staffing or insurance. But Dollywood promised it would be replaced by a new for 2014 attraction. This would later be revealed as Fire Chaser Express. This would be a Gerstlauer family coaster that passed through some of Adventure Mountain's old support structures, but a majority of the layout was terrain based on the hillside. Fire Chaser Express opened in 2014 as intended. This would open as the tallest Gerstlauer family coaster, and the first to feature launches, one of which would go backwards no less. And the ride looks fantastic. The green track blends in with the hillside, and the sleek red trains really pop. But you also have the great thematic touches that tie into the ride's story. The coaster is themed to a volunteer fire department. Fire Chief Pete Embers is constantly having to deal with Crazy Charlie, an eccentric local who owns a gas station and fireworks emporium. I thought this was a fictional business combination that would never exist in real life. But you can actually find gas stations selling fireworks all throughout Tennessee. The more you know. Anyway, Charlie has been panicking about the dry weather and constantly calling the fire department at the slightest hint of smoke. Sensing a boy who cried wolf situation, Chief Embers decided to deputize the entire town to keep watch on Charlie. The queue line builds up to this. The covered switchbacks call for volunteer firefighters, and you have Smokey the Bear with his fire indicator sign. Riders become the newest recruits and board trains, quite literally. The station is themed to a fire station, complete with some equipment and sirens. It is quite theatric when the train blasts right out of there at the start. Then the main layout passes through some fire towers, zips right past a beautiful waterfall, and eventually heads right for Charlie's business. You see all sorts of auto equipment on the approach before entering his fireworks shed. This coaster opened to rave reviews, and it immediately became one of the park's most popular attractions. It has an extremely low 39-inch height requirement, allowing even young kids to ride this. Then the ride was approachable, but unique and dynamic enough to appeal to thrill seekers as well. As a result, Fire Chaser Express almost always has one of the longest lines at Dollywood. Most days, the line will be 30 to 50 minutes at minimum. I was hopeful the opening of Dragonflyer and Big Bear Mountain would lessen the demand for Fire Chaser, but it is not. The rides remain just as popular as ever. There are 3 ways to avoid the crowds, thankfully. 1. Head there right at the start of the day. Fire Chaser is located in the very back of the park, so the line is usually minimal for the first hour of operation. 2. Head there at the end of the day. I have seen this coaster with little to no wait in the last hour of operation several times. 3. Use the park's paid time saver Skip the Line pass. This gives you a separate lane directly in the station, bypassing the queue entirely. Along with this ride's popularity, another factor tying into its lengthy queues are its low capacity. This coaster is 3 trains and typically will run all 3, but they are very short. Each one is just 7 rows, so the trains hold a maximum of 14 riders. Dispatches are usually fairly quick. Employees will typically take loose articles from guests and put them in the storage bins for them. This allows guests to board faster. Then the restraint consists of just a simple lap bar, nothing else. I find the U-shaped lap bars comfortable enough. The one con with the vehicles is that outside of row 1, they do not have much legroom. Keep that in mind if you're on the taller side. When you reach the station, you are assigned a row, but if you ask nicely, the park will honor seating requests. I think the back offers a slightly more thrilling ride experience. You get some extra airtime in the first half, and they are pushed into the turns during the backwards finale. I find the dispatch sequence in this ride amusing. It has a sense of urgency. Once checked, The employees tend to loudly shout clear. Then a red siren flashes and a bell rings as well. Chief Embers then tells you it's go time, and you blast out of the station. Now this tire-driven launch has unassuming stats. You only accelerate to speeds of 16 miles per hour or 26 kilometers per hour, but it has some surprising oomph. You then rise upwards, getting a pinch of airtime up front. The train then swoops downwards and has a small S-hill. You get another small pop of airtime in front, and some weightlessness in the back. This pre-lift section is brief, but it certainly has some pep to it. You then hit the chain lift, which takes you to the ride's max height of 78 feet or 24 meters. It faces away from the park, so you don't see too much beyond the upcoming layout. The lift is rather slow, but you do hear the sirens continuing to blare. Once you crest the top, you have a small drop that twists right. Despite its size, it offers some great laterals in the rear rows. Those in front get decent laterals in the pullout as they twist upwards into the following hill. This leads directly into a flat turn high above the ground. The placement offers a fantastic view of Wilderness Pass. Then the unbanked turn offers solid laterals. They're solid throughout the train, but they're a smidge stronger in front. You then have a straight drop that gives a small pop of airtime in back. Without any delay, you then have a banked turnaround. It's relatively forceless, but the exit drops you further down the hill, allowing you to build up nice speed. You then zip over a speed hill. This gives a decent burst of airtime for all. It is probably the single best spot of negative G's in the ride. You then have a sizable camelback, at least by this ride's standards. Those up front get some moderate floater over the top. Those in back get a little airtime, but the drop also twists right, so it also throws in some solid laterals in the back there simultaneously, which isn't something you typically get in a family coaster. The pullout briefly passes through a fire tower. Then you twist upwards and to the right, giving everyone a decent dose of laterals. The train then passes through a brief mid-course brake run that will slow you down a bit, but that's okay because you're high enough off the ground to rebuild speed in short order. This leads into a slow 180-degree turn. It ends with a sharp swooping drop left that gives another burst of laterals for those in back. Next comes a camelback. The visuals are awesome. You have a great head chopper with a lift hill above you. Then off to the side, you have the aforementioned waterfall. While the Element doesn't have any airtime up front, those in back will get a little pop in the descent. You then twist left and have a big bunny hill. It's a bit too drawn out to offer airtime though. This immediately leads into a series of S-bends past some cars and fireworks. It's pretty easy to miss the theming because of how abrupt the directional changes are. They quickly move the train side to side. You then roll into Charlie's Fireworks Emporium for the ride's main show scene. The wooden building looks delightfully dangerous as it has all sorts of holes and burn marks. You come to a stop and dramatic music starts to play. A spark ignites the nearby fireworks and gasoline. Flames erupt from behind the fireworks, and the heat is stifling on a hot summer day. The fire chief then tells you to get out of there ASAP. Right as he says that, a gigantic firecracker named Big Bertha tips over and points itself directly at riders. Then the train is blasted by hot steam, and you shoot backwards. This is another tire-driven launch. As before, it has a modest top speed of 20 miles per hour or 32 kilometers per hour, but it has some genuine power. So much so that most riders will fold forwards over their restraint during the launch. While the show scene took place, a switch track moved into place to reroute you towards the finale. After the launch, you rise upwards. You crest it slowly, and it feels like you'll stall out. Then you have an undulating turnaround, but if you're in the natural front of the train, you'll get some minor lateral kinks here. The exit of this turnaround jumps upwards, giving those in the natural back of the train a weak pop of airtime. Then you have a good-sized drop. It is shallow, but the lengthened backwards motion induces a falling sensation. Then you have two rapid-fire turns in reverse. These really snap the train, and they offer great laterals because you cannot properly brace for them. The entry into the brake run is particularly abrupt, and it really slams you sideways. I like the tenacity. It is a really strong finale. You then come to a halt on the brakes. Once the train ahead of you leaves the station, a switch track moves into place, allowing you to back into the station. This ends the 2,427 foot or 740 meter long experience, but the coaster feels considerably longer, especially with the show scene. Gerstlauer family coasters are typically smooth, and Fire Chaser is no exception. Then the pacing is quite good for this type of ride. There are a few brief pauses in the action in the lift hill, the mid-course, and the show scene, but the coaster is otherwise throwing one enjoyable element after another at riders. So what would I rate Fire Chaser Express? I would give this coaster a 9 out of 10. Keep in mind this rating is relative to other family coasters. And on that note, I think this is a near perfect family coaster. It has a low height limit, and it's not too intimidating, but it offers enough thrills to keep enthusiasts like myself satisfied. It really is a crowd pleaser. The first half has some airtime and laterals. The launches have some sneaky punch to them, particularly the backwards one. Then the backwards finale has some snappy transitions to keep you on your toes. This ride really does a lot. Is it better than Big Bear Mountain? For me, yes it is. I think Fire Chaser offers better forces. I think people tend to prefer Big Bear overall because it's a faster paced ride, but I know plenty who still prefer Fire Chaser like myself. And having both these rides in a single park gives Dollywood one of the best 1-2 punches for family coasters. Any park would be happy to have one of these rides, let alone two. The success of Fire Chaser Express led to Gerstlauer making similar rides across the globe. Yippee at Parque del Cafe in Colombia has a nearly identical layout to Fire Chaser, just without the backwards section. Then Pagos Express at Parque Asterix is set up similarly to Fire Chaser Express, having a mild launch and lift hill at the start, before finishing with a backwards launch at the end. I think this is another wonderful family coaster, but I do prefer Fire Chaser because it offers better airtime. So those are my thoughts on Fire Chaser Express at Dollywood. What are your thoughts on this coaster? Do you think it's an elite family coaster as well? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster amusement park videos here at Canobie Coaster. Thanks for watching.